Live on GBC News, time for news. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Seyofo Kwakuchen. Welcome to the news. We start from Ashanti. In the next 24 months, all districts in the country will have at least one fully equipped state-of-the-art district hospital for President Akufo-Addo. This is to boost and bring quality health care to all Ghanaians. The president performed the groundbreaking ceremony at the Indi Ekwima Kwawoman district of Ashanti to set in motion the Agenda 111 hospital project. 250 local contractors are engineering the 111 projects across the country.
A consortium comprising some 20 Ghanaian consulting firms made up of architects, civil, structural, electrical, and mechanical engineers, quantity surveyors, biomedical engineers, and other technical teams have designed these hospitals to reflect our unique domestic requirements, including impact of climate, socio-cultural conditions, and traditional practices. They will also supervise the construction of these hospitals, which will be built by some 250 domestic contractors and maintained by domestic facility management professionals as part of government's policy of developing domestic capability in the building and construction sectors of the economy. This will undoubtedly help retain most of the money in the country to engender further investment in the economy. Secondly, the hospitals are of a standard design and construction to provide the blueprint for speedy and cost-effective implementation of future health infrastructure programs in the country. Thirdly, the execution of Agenda 111 will require significant domestic inputs, which will give impetus to private sector investments into the one district, one factory policy. I expect Ghanaian entrepreneurs to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the significant investment and produce quality building and construction materials required by the hospitals. Fourthly, we've incorporated into this agenda a strategy of direct and indirect job openings to stimulate the economies of the various communities in which the facilities are to be located.
The Upper West Regional National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, says 336 people have so far been displaced by floods that occurred in the region a few days ago. Again, 1,605 farmers have also lost their farms. This constitutes about 722 farmlands. Upper West Regional Director of NADMO, Mustafa Ahmed, disclosed this to GBC News at Wa.
The regional NADMO director said though the organization is having difficulty in reaching some of the affected areas, information gathered from assembly members in 3 districts indicates that 80 houses have also collapsed, making life difficult for the people. The districts assessed so far are the Nadoli Kalio, Dafia Mabusi Isa and Jirapa. Mr. Ahmed said those flooded areas are not known to be flood-prone. He, however, advised people living in low-lying areas to move away.
About 722 farmlands has actually been washed away by what happened on the eve of Thursday and early hours of Friday. And the total number of farmers on this acres of farmlands that have been washed away is about 1,605.
The regional director said NADMO is preparing to reach out to the affected persons with some relief items to ameliorate their suffering. He, however, appealed for assistance from individuals and organizations in this time of emergency since their resources are overstretched.
We have actually in touch with the religious bodies to at least assist us with some temporary accommodation for these 336 people being displaced, to give us their facilities, at least their churches and other religious institutions that they have around that enclave, to assist us in that regard. And we are taking opportunity about the basic schools that are currently on holidays to use their classrooms on a temporary basis.
The 2021 West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASI took off on Monday 16th with 446,321 candidates across the country, an increase in last year's number, which was 375,763. The examination commenced with project work for visual arts candidates. I have here in the studio my colleague Humu Abdullahi, who visited some examination centers in Accra. Good afternoon, Humu.
Good afternoon.
Humu, briefly tell us, what did you observe at the various centers that you visited today?
Okay, I went to two schools today. I went to St. Aquinas Senior High School, and I went to Laboni Senior High School. When we got there, we realized that most of the students, those who are yet to start the main exams, you know, the main exam starts in the first week of September. So what we saw, most of them were still in classrooms preparing for their upcoming exams. Those who are doing the exams, like we are saying, were the visual arts students. I think the exam is within 5 days. Yesterday what they did was they had to draw a plan of what they are going to do. And then between today and Thursday, they are going to put it into practical work. If you are doing leather, if you are doing beads making, depending on what you are doing, whatever you have drawn on paper is what you have to put on the ground. Put it like, let it come out physically, let people see what you put on paper. Then on Friday, they will appreciate. That's
so it's kind of your project work.
Yes, you kind of a project work, exactly. So whatever you put on paper, you are now going to write it out to tell the examiners that this is what I have done. When I spoke to some of the supervisors, what I heard was that most of these questions have been given to the student prior to this day, I think 2 weeks back. Because it's a practical work, they need to actually learn how to do it. So most of the students, depending on what you are doing, you can either be doing beads making, then you do leather work. Most of the subjects like music and French, those are general subjects for each of the classes, and then general knowledge in art. But most of the others, like leather work and others, you will have to pick. So depending on the school that you attend, then the combination will be given to you. One interesting thing I observed was that if you look at the figures for the students who are taking part in this year's exams, you can see that the female number is slightly ahead of the males. It looks like more girls are going to school now. They are acquiring higher education. So you can see a little over 2,000 more than the male students taking part in the exams. Another thing I observed when I went, especially Laboni Senior High School, you know, because most of the students, they had to stay back a month ahead of the time they were supposed to resume. So the teachers had to find a way to ensure that they make up for the lost time. So most of them, they were just complaining that they are tired, because I think after 3 months mostly they have to go on vacation. But this time they were not allowed to go. So most of them had to spend the time in school, and some of the students were complaining that it might affect their exams. But the headmistress of Laboni Senior High School just thought that probably they were just being lazy, because most of the time they are giving some time to go and rest before they come back.
Most secondary schools also didn't allow students to go on the midterm break because of the COVID scourge too.
Exactly. So it was like learning. And she thinks that they shouldn't complain. But you know, students, they said they are tired, but they are going to...
But they have to finish hard.
They will have to finish hard. So basically, that's what I observed when I went on the visit to some of the schools. Right. Maybe when the exams itself starts in the first week of September, we'll be able to get the actual picture of
so
what's
finally,
really
let me
going
ask
on
this
in school.
question. Finally, you were talking about visual arts students.
Yes,
Do we really have other students like taking courses in maybe the science, physics? If it's practicals, will we have students taking practicals in such things?
Most of these students will do their practical work, especially like you said, those in the sciences, those who are doing home econs. Their timetable is fixed within when the actual exam starts, because these people, it's kind of, they've been given, it involves a lot. So I'm sure that's why probably they will have to do it every day. Don't forget that every day the student will have to do 6 hours. You have to do 6 hours each day, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon.
Sure.
So the sciences and then the home econs, they'll probably start their practicals when the exams.
Thank you very much, Homo. We'll be waiting for the fuller version of this particular story in our next bulletin at 7. So we'll wait for that particular story. Well, we now have the head of public affairs at the West Africa Examination Council, Ghana, Mrs. Agnes Ekujo, on the phone, and she's going to update us with what is happening. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Mrs. Ekujo, first of all, what measures are in place to safeguard the integrity of the exams this time?
The council has put in place a number of security measures to safeguard the integrity of this year's diet of examinations. In addition to that, we have held a number of briefing sessions, and for the first time this year, we held a webinar seminar for our the heads of school, supervisors and vigilators, to let them be aware about their role in safeguarding the integrity of our exams. So we did that to conscientize them to realize that safeguarding the integrity of our examinations is a collective responsibility. WAEC has its part to play, and we expect support from other stakeholders such as our teachers, our vigilators, the candidates themselves, and all others who will be connected with the exam.
Okay, this WASI will take place, that this COVID pandemic still exists. So what are you doing, or how are you ensuring that the COVID-19 safety protocols are adhered at the various centers, exam centers?
Well, this year, just as we did last year, the examination was also conducted around the time that we had to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. So I believe that the candidates have been in school, they have the necessary protocols that they need to adhere to, and these protocols will not change during the time for the examination. So the various hand washing stations will be made available. We are asking that the candidates keep their face masks on all throughout the examination period, and that there should be no hugging, they shouldn't crowd around the examination center, especially when they are being searched. They should ensure that there's adequate spacing so that the candidates don't get too close to one another. And then we are making the hand sanitizers available to all the examination centers so that the supervisors and the vigilators will use them as and when necessary. And we are also asking that after the candidates are searched, they apply the hand sanitizer, and they should use the rubbing alcohol on the biometric machines even as they check the candidates. So these are some of the things that we have put in place. We are going to brief our staff also who will be engaged in the examination to adhere to the protocols when they move out for the examination period.
Okay, so for this year's exams, we know that 446,321 candidates are sitting for this year's exams. Can you tell us the gender composition, the number of supervisors and centers that we have?
Okay, this year we have, like you mentioned, we have 446,321 candidates made up of 221,437 males and 224,884 females. So the females are slightly higher than the males. And then we have a total number of 965 schools. The candidature for the examination is coming from 965 schools, 651 public schools, and then 314 private schools. And we are conducting the examination at 763 centers. Some of the schools are joining others because of their low candidature and also because of one or a few other issues to write the examination. So that's why we have a smaller number of centers as compared to the number of schools.
All right, then, so how many schools, both public and private, are participating in this?
965.
And how many days will the exam travel?
The theory paper starts on the 1st of September. For now, we are doing the project work for the candidates who are offering visual arts, and then the foods and nutrition candidates will do their practical planning session on Friday. And the theory paper starts on the 1st of September, and the examination runs to 8th October, Friday, 8th October 2021.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Madam, for talking to us. And we've been speaking to the head of public affairs at the West African Examination Council, Ghana, Mrs. Agnes Tay Kujo. The Ghana Education Service, in collaboration with the Science Education Unit of the service, has held its 2021 National Science, Technology, Mathematics and Innovation Education Camp at the Academic City University College in Accra. The theme was Quality System Education, Quality Life.
The 6 days program are made at equipping students with project development and innovation to solve societal problems through science and technology. This year's program witnessed 30 senior high schools across the country present for the award in different categories of project work. 41 awardees out of a total of 235 participants were presented with books, medals and certificates. Mesa Reke Jewajiman of Kumasi Senior High Technical School was crowned the overall best student. St. Louis Girls School was named the overall best school, while Scotia Senior High Technical School won the Best Project Award with a replica of an aeroplane. Prempeh College came second with a COVID-19 sanitizing machine. Some awardee students spoke about their experience over the 6 days camp.
And it's such a wonderful experience. I'm very happy. And I want this to be highly publicized so that the government of Ghana will get much involved in this.
For all the things they taught us, it's really helping. Yeah, and it's also in the near future, I think it will improve more than this and it will help a lot of students.
The Director for Science Education Unit of the Ghana Education Service, GES, Madam Olivia Sewa Opare, says SMIT holds the key to changing the face of technology and innovation in Ghana.
STEM education in the next 10 years will really be much better due to the things that these little students are developing. You can see that technology, we have embraced it. You can see that all the core competencies, when you study STEM, you acquire, they are really exhibiting those qualities or those skills. They are critical thinking. Looking at what has happened, these students are very good. And then they are very creative. Looking at the project that they brought along, they are highly innovative. And for the collaboration, it is superb.
The Deputy Director General, Management Service, GES, Mr. Anthony Boateng, emphasized the rationale behind the initiative.
The original idea was to introduce many more students into science, maths, technology, and engineering. Initially, it was even meant for girls, but over a period, we have started to include boys as well. So the idea is to expose them to practical science, technology, engineering, and mathematics issues so that they can deal with them better. We added robotics because that is what the world is moving towards. You see, we want to respond to changing demands of the world and on the environment. So we are adding on as and when the world strategy is changing.
Stay well longer on education, and the Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum, has met with heads of more than 100 public senior high schools and technical institutes in the Ashanti and Western North regions. He asked the various school heads to ensure improved school attendance and punctuality and hard work on the part of both teachers and students. The meeting took place in Kumasi, the Ashanti regional capital.
The heads of more than 100 public schools, including technical institutes, in the Ashanti and Western North regions converged on the Kumasi Anglican Senior High School for the meeting. It was Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum's first official interaction since assuming office. He stressed the need for improved school attendance and punctuality and urged the heads to lead by example. In a PowerPoint presentation, the heads were reminded of the positions of the various schools in terms of their performance in the 2020 West African Senior High School Certificate Examinations, WASI. The Education Minister charged the heads to instill discipline and the spirit of hard work in the students by their own examples.
When schools succeed, it is you who have succeeded. Consequently, I expect that you do everything for your school to succeed.
The various school heads were said to have poured out their hearts to the minister in a closed-door meeting. They enumerated challenges with the running of the schools, the double-track system, and school feeding. The Ashanti Regional Director of Education, Madame Mary Friye, told the school heads not to allow challenges to discourage them from performing their duties.
We don't have any perfect situation in this world. There are challenges, but in spite of the challenges, that is where we emerge as transformational leaders. We emerge as managers of our system.
The Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum, also encouraged the heads to remain committed even in the face of challenges.
It takes individuals like yourselves with the requisite experience and expertise to be successful. You are at the peak of your game, at the top, at the head of affairs in schools. Your last opportunity to demonstrate to the world that you got into education for all the right reasons. So you began right, and you're going to end right.
The national president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS, Alhaji Abubakar Yakub, was satisfied with the assurance given by the minister that government would this week release funds for the 2021 WASI protocols.
Côte d'Ivoire has begun a vaccination program against Ebola after the country confirmed its first case since 1994. It said the family of the infected teenager and health workers involved were the first to be given the jab. Health official Sergi Holy said that they had planned to vaccinate all the 2,000 people that are considered exposed from the community and also people from the health system and security by Wednesday. The infected teenager tested positive on Saturday after arriving in the commercial hub Abidjan on the bus from neighboring Guinea. Ebola causes severe fever and, in the worst cases, unstoppable bleeding. Meanwhile, the government says it is stepping up surveillance at the illegal routes along the country's border with Côte d'Ivoire as part of measures to keep Ebola at bay. Côte d'Ivoire on Sunday, August 15, recorded its first case of the deadly Ebola disease and has since begun a vaccination program. Dr. Franklin Asiedu-Bequin, an epidemiologist and infectious disease specialist and director of public health at the Ghana Health Service, updates us on how the country is protecting itself from Ebola or Marburg virus.
We have a record of a confirmed case of Marburg in Marburg in Guinea, and then we also have a confirmed case of Ebola in Côte d'Ivoire. And these are contiguous countries, and somehow they have linkage the Ghana population. So particularly the case of Ebola in Cote d'Ivoire. I mean, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana share a lot of similarities. That's how come we have to heighten our cellular system and then raise it up to the level that should the case of the country, we should be able to address it. So what we are doing is that we are looking at our working borders, and then quite clearly that is what the case is coming from. For now, our borders are closed.
Yeah.
But we need to be sure that it's completely closed. Now, you know, we have borders that maybe somehow we have some porous component. So the idea is that how do we ensure that all those porous borders or unapproved routes are guarded?
Okay.
And that's how come we are going to work together with the immigration and the national security and all those people who are ensure border control to make sure that cases do not cross. So that is, they say, the formal way of ensuring that cases do not cross the borders. So there are two things here. So we have our formal hotel, and in the areas that we do not have the hotel, we have the national security, we have the immigration, we have customs that will complement what we do have hotel, so that they can actually be able to detect the cases through the shock that early stage, and then refer to the health facility. For now, what we are doing is that we just had a meeting yesterday and today. You know, when you have the Ebola, it's very important in this case. We came out with clear set of documents that will help in detection of the cases. So those are the documents that we are going to be using to help to guide clinicians to suspect cases and then fit for the class. Let me say that Ghana, we have our labs, we have now cases here is also coming on board. That assuming you suspect the case can be sent there for confirmation.
From reports, the state of River and Cobra has worsened at the hands of illegal miners, partially defeating the effort of the government to get all polluted water bodies to their original state. To this end, the military task force has once again been commissioned to the area to make sanity prevail.
The gradual serenity and cleanliness that returned to River and Cobra a few months ago due to the ban at the red zones, forest and water bodies has hit the skids. This is the state of River and Cobra as of August 13, 2021, milkier and more polluted than ever. With their favorite equipment, the champagne machine, Galamsey operators in their numbers had taken over the river, exploiting for the gold. So far, the team deployed to the area has destroyed 10 champagne machines with no arrest made yet.
We've not lost the battle. We are on it. We're going to clamp down all recalcitrant operators. As I speak with you, a task force has been commissioned by the minister himself this morning that could be called on a rapid basis.
The Small Scale Miners Association denied involvement in the current happenings on River and Cobra.
No small scale miner is issued license to go and operate on a river body or in a forest reserve. So those you see there are illegal dredgers who are chamfer operators. They are not small scale miners or licensed small scale miners. So that allegation of them being part of the association is wrong.
Meanwhile, a Sudanese delegation is in Ghana to understudy the country's artisanal small-scale mining sector. A mercury-free mineral processor technology, the commodity monitor, was introduced to the team.
Ghana closed its borders with neighboring countries when COVID-19 cases soared in 2020. The situation remained the same until the recent rise in cases. But how secure are our borders with the surge in COVID cases and now the emergence of the Marburg virus, which can also spread from human to human? Our Upper East regional correspondent Samuel Ayama is on the phone to tell us the security situation along the Ghana-Burkina Faso border from the Upper East side. Hello, good afternoon, Samuel.
Good afternoon, Sayoko.
Yeah, Sami, can you tell us or describe the situation at the border per the last time you visited?
Yeah, thank you very much. At the borders in the Upper East region, we have the Pomakum border, the Namoy border, the Kulugugu border, and then the Paga border. But these borders, we have some security personnel, including the customs, the immigration, the military, some police officers manage these borders. But the issue that we have here in the Upper East region has to do with the not unapproved borders. The borders are very porous because even the main borders, for instance, when you get there, you see up and down crossing the border. But the explanation the security officials, particularly the immigration officers, they've been telling us has to do with that they have people they describe as border residents. They are maybe they are from Ghana, but they have their farmlands or they do some kind of businesses in Togo or Burkina Faso, or they have some Burkina people who are also from Burkina, all right, but they have some kind of business transactions to do in Ghana. So those people are allowed to cross, but when you get there, you find it difficult to identify who are the border residents. But the security officials, they also admitted that sometimes it becomes a challenge. So for now, the borders, when you get there, it's like the closure of the border is on paper, but in reality, it is not something that is on the ground, particularly even where they consider as the approved borders.
Okay, so Sami, let's talk about the region. Have people been complying with the COVID-19 safety protocols since the country started recording new cases?
Not at all. Not at all. It is a very worrying situation here in the Upper East region. When the COVID started in early 2020, it's like you move to the market centers and then you find the markets position advantage points for people to practice the frequent hand washing. You see all places, some hand sanitizers all over. People in the market, especially in the market days, you hear these NGOs sensitizing the market women and men about the need to adhere to the coronavirus safety protocols. But I think those things is no more in the various market centers. People are living a normal life in all the market centers across the Upper East region. On the streets of Bogatanga, Nabugo, Boko, Putigai, all the major towns or cities in the region, you hardly few people you see them in their face mask or nose mask when you are on the streets. So it's a serious situation that is happening here. As of August 31st, the region recorded 5 cases, and as we speak, the regional health directorate told us that they've set up samples to check their new variants, even though we have some centers that can check or test the coronavirus to see whether somebody is contracted. But the new variant, they can't detect it here. They have the Boku Presbyterian Hospital where you have a testing center in the Boga Regional Hospital, Boatanga, the Regional Hospital here, and again to Navrongo Research Center. But those centers don't have the needed equipment to check the new variants that we started recorded. But the adherence, the safety protocols is not encouraging here in the Upper East region.
So what are the authorities concerned doing about the situation so that the people adhere to the safety protocols?
Yes, the regional health director, Dr. Emmanuel Bucheki, when he had an engagement with the media, he told us that we should support them in sensitizing the general public about the need to adhere to the safety protocols recommended by WHO and then that of the health experts. And then they players in the health sector will also do their part, make sure they back on aggressive sensitization programs to at least help curb the spread of the virus in the region. And they've also had the chiefs and then the clean mothers, the magaziers, the opinion leaders at their various areas, the religious leaders in churches, mosques, to try and always sensitize the people like they used to do. Those days you enter a church where they will take some time and then sensitize the public or the mosque. Those days is no more happening. So they ask them to start those sensitization in order to help get the spread of the virus in the region.
Okay, now the Ghana Health Service has warned all health facilities about the emergence of a new virus, the Marburg virus. Have the health authorities been educating the people on how the presentation of this virus?
Yeah, they told them that the safety protocols haven't changed. They should not think that the new barrier or like the new this thing that we have started recording, it is a different thing altogether, even though they have some kind of differences, but it's still the same coronavirus that came in here. But they should try and always make sure that they don't get close to each other without wearing the masks, sensitize themselves all the time, practice the frequent like hand washing, so that they avoid where people are crowded. And if they don't have anything doing outside there, they should try and stay away from mingling or getting involved in where there are crowds.
All right, Sammy, thank you so much for those updates. We've been speaking to our Upper East Regional Correspondent Samuel Ayama, and we'll be taking a short break. We'll be back with more.